Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Time Out with Derek and Joe. For Joe Azalina, I am Derek Gano. Thank you, as always, for taking time out of your day to spend some time with us. Joe, back in our places here today, and we jump back. It's been a few weeks to our top 5 list, just kind of rounding that up here.
Yep, we're gonna take a look today at our relief pitchers and closers. Me and Derek compiled two pretty good lists, I think. Um, and just looking at the last couple seasons and what they're currently doing, and guys moving from teams was interesting to look at. Finding new spots this year, a couple of them,
Yeah.
and in the past 2 years, even right. So, yeah, this will be a pretty fun show, and we'll get into later that timeout listener, Derek. Yeah, timeout with Derek and Joe. We'll have a little time off.
Yep. So, without further ado, let's get it started here. Let's move us down. Let's not forget about the people who are listening. So we'll be sure to uh, be specific about what is on our charts here. But we did change up the chart a little bit, of course, for reasons of being relief pitchers. They have different things to worry about, but stats that are important. But we have each name, team, age of each player, win totals. Again, this is over 2019-2020 season, and top 3 in each category are highlighted. Wins, losses, games that they appeared, saves, blown saves, as well as holds, because middle relief pitchers are not going to all have save opportunities. Innings pitch total, Ks per 9 inning, walks per 9 innings, home runs given up per 9 innings, ERA, WHIP, which is walks and hits per 9 innings, or per innings pitch, I should say. LOB percentage is left on base percentage. I found that to be pretty interesting number, because relief pitchers are obviously going to sometimes come on when runners are already on base. Well, this is the percentage of inherited runners that when they come in the game, runners are on base, that they leave out there and end the inning. So the higher that percentage is, the better. Average against by the hitters, so the lower there is, the better. And of course, WAR is wins above replacement. So Joe, we have the wheel again. We have 15
Yes.
names, of which, if anyone's missing, hey, feel free to throw them out there in the comments that you think that they belong on here. But otherwise, these are the 15 names we're running with. I believe I said about 10 are on our list. 5 we'll just be talking about. But without further ado, let's get to spinning.
The wheel is back.
And our first name will be, well, there we go. Starting off with a bang, and that is Devin Williams, someone who came on like a freight train last year, Joe. Why don't you get us started on Devin Williams from Milwaukee?
Yeah, Devin Williams is a really good pitcher. He's only 26 years old. He was a top 10 reliever last year. He won the National League Rookie of the Year for and that's just because Alec Bohm was up for it, and so was somebody I can't remember right now, but he definitely won it. And as a reliever, that's pretty good. He has a devastating changeup, a changeup that just makes hitters look foolish. He has best K for to ball ratio percentage of any pitcher. Now that's saying something right there, Derek. He strikes out a lot of guys and doesn't walk much. And let's look at some of the things that we have highlighted here. Well, 4-1 definitely isn't bad. That's definitely good. 35 games
Yeah, I
pitched,
mean,
and he didn't
you
have
can't
any
really look too
saves.
much at wins and losses for relief pitchers, really, because a lot of these wins could be based on them giving up runs, and then the bottom of the inning their team wins it. So
Right.
those are numbers.
Yeah, but there's the K through 9, as we just said, 14.83. He's really not behind. Josh Hader, we'll talk about later, I'm sure. And also Kirby Yates is ahead of him, but he's not behind a lot of guys. Even Pomerantz, who's a good lefty specialist, is ahead of him, and Nick Anderson. So Williams has some good numbers: an 0.66 home run per nine, which is incredible, a 1.55 ERA. The whip is a 101, which is marvelous. And the batting average against a 174, which is pretty good too. So I have Devin Williams number 3 on my list.
Mm.
And I still thought about putting him higher, but I kept him right in the top 3.
And he was number 7 in Cy Young voting last year as well, too. At 0.33 ERA. So you see, well, even still, his ERA is the highest, or the lowest, I should say, even though he did have a 3.95 ERA in 2019. But he was amazing last year. You mentioned his changeup. He throws that 53% of the time. That's his main pitch, as well as a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. Ton of talent out there. I guess you could throw out there, is he the best reliever on the team even? But he's still a top 5 talent right now. And he came out very strong in 2020. He is struggling a little bit to start the season, but I'm sure he'll get back on track. I have Devin Williams at number 4, so we're pretty even there. I have a couple guys I like more, but Devin Williams is a great talent, and he'll be continuing, I'm sure, in coming years. And then we will go to Joe. I'll hand this one off to you as well because he's on your list. Another guy who had an amazing year last year, former Philly, but now in Oakland, Jake Diekman.
Yeah, this is a guy that I got to watch up close and personal with the Philadelphia Phillies. And as you just said, Jake Diekman, a 34-year-old lefty, and by lefty, I mean he comes off to that sidearm, side-winding delivery that he has. He's very hard to pick up as a batter, will tell you. Usually with a pretty low ERA. He wasn't even at the back end of when he was in Philly. He was more of a middle guy. But of course, the Phillies screwed things up. So Oakland has done a good job with him. But yeah, 34 years of age, 97 games in 2 seasons, Derek. That's impressive. That's almost the whole season if you didn't take away the shortened season last year. He has 44 holds, which is actually it's the first out of everybody. So that's really impressive. He comes in and gets the job done. 83 innings pitched, 12 almost a 13K to 9, 0.43 home runs to 9, which is second behind Kirby Yates, who's a great veteran. ERA a little high at 3.56, but that's going to happen sometimes in the American League. Left on base is 0.734, a little bit high too. I just like him. I always like his makeup and kind of a no nonsense type of pitcher. And I have him at number 6 on my list, and I just had to put him in there. Former Phil, Jake Diekman, gotta like him.
It wasn't until I'm not 100% sure, but majority of the season that he gave up his first run last year. He finished with a 0.42 ERA. Now you see why does he have a 3.56 ERA? Well, that was because he had a 4.43 ERA in 2019. He's probably right in the middle there. I would say he's around a 3 ERA is where he's normally going to get. But good fastball, 95-mile-an-hour fastball, a little bit sidearm action, if I recall. But you mentioned the games. He's pretty consistent when he's out there. Does walk way too many people for my liking. 5.51 per 9, which is the highest out of anyone on this list. But he doesn't give up those home runs. That's very good. And you can't really hit him. 1.88 ERA. I don't have him on my list, and that was partially because I think there are other guys consistently that are better than him. But no denying that he was, if not, well, I guess on a normal year, he would
Right.
have had the best ERA at 0.42, but Williams had 0.33.
Well,
So
Derek, I do have a question though. It says here his ERA is 3.56. That's kind of
mhm.
high. But if you look at his average, the hitters hitting him is 188. So it's kind of weird, you know, that but ERA, there's a
Yeah,
lot to go into it. You know, we like you said, guys come in and or he's coming into games out of the bullpen. What's he inheriting, as they say, right? So
or guys inheriting his runners after him
right,
too, and unfortunately letting them score. That doesn't go against the average
right.
um, or some of the numbers on here, but it inflates his ERA, unfortunately. So um, we'll spin the wheel again here. Who do we got coming up now? Well, I got to keep kicking it to you, Joe, because these
Oh
are
my
people
gosh.
on your list, but not
I
on
know
my
we need
list.
one from we need from one
So
from you or one that's not on either of our lists.
yeah, Rysel Iglesias, he was moved from Cincinnati this offseason over to the Angels. Um, another fireballer, but he can be questionable sometimes with giving up those runs, as we'll see on some of these stats.
Well, he's 31 years old, so he's still kind of young for a reliever closer. Yeah, you're like you said, he was a Reds guy, Reds player. He got traded to the Anaheim Angels. But Derek, he had the best season of his career last year, and he was just lights out. He pitches to hard contact, which could be scary. And Iglesias, his numbers aren't like earth shattering, but you know, the 15 losses is kind of scary. I didn't realize he had 15 losses in 2 years, but
Wow.
he did pitch in 90 games. He saved 42 of them though, so that's impressive there. The K to 9 is high. The walks
Yep.
per 9 is in the middle, even a little higher actually. But like his home run to 9 at 130, not bad. ERA is looks to be a 3.80, which is again that's pretty high. Now that I'm looking at Derek, I might not have
Well,
put him in. I put him at 5. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I can't wait to see one of your guys though. I'm waiting for the wheel to give you some luck here.
I think it's more for potential for Iglesias. I mean, in 2016, 17, 18, he was between a 2.38 and a 2.35 ERA. So he was pretty consistent while he
Right.
was out there getting the saves for Cincinnati. All of a sudden, yeah, well, and that's where it comes in these numbers. He had a 4.16 ERA in 2019, and
Right.
that's where you're a little bit inflated. So he has all the talent in the world. He is a fireballer. You're gonna get the innings. He doesn't really get injured. But yeah, you said it. That's a number that scared me when I saw it. I honestly didn't know that number was so high. The 15 losses. That means he's blowing a lot of saves, and you see the 8 blown saves, which isn't as much as some other guys on this list, but um yeah, I like Iglesias, maybe more of a top 10, top 12 than anyone I'm going to put on the list, though. So, um, hey, maybe we'll get someone who I can start off with here. There he
Yep.
is. Okay.
Not on
Kirby
my list.
Yates, even though he is not pitching this year, for those that don't know, he went from San Diego to Toronto this offseason, but I believe it was Tommy John surgery, so he is out for the entire year. But Kirby Yates is one of the best pitchers, best closers over the past few years. You see the Ks per nine, third amongst Ks per nine with 15.09. Home runs per 9 innings, doesn't give up those, 0.42. Decent ERA, 1.9. Well, decent. That's probably fourth on this list, 1.94. Um, he had a season, I believe it was 2019, yes, where he was an all-star. 41 of those 43 saves. So yeah, last year I think he may have even gotten injured last year as well. So this is really going off of 2018, 2019 numbers. That's a lot to bank on. So I did put him as honorable mention, Joe, one of my honorable mentions. But yeah, Kirby Yates is a pretty good talent.
Derek, do you have him at 7 or 6?
Honorable mention.
Just okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he did really good in San Diego. In fact, a couple years ago, Craig Stammen and him, if you remember that name, the big right-hander, him and Yates were so good there. And I was dying for somebody to come over to Philly just to help us out. It's one of those guys. But yeah, so Kirby Yates will be fine. He's a good pitcher. The whip is unbelievable. You know, you look at that. The walks the walks to 9 is great. This is a good pick by you. I probably could have had him in there. I'm interested to see what you think about my other guy, honorable mention, but the games are huge. He's thrown 97 games. That's a lot of games again. But in the win loss
66.
I'm sorry.
That's
here I go again.
Yeah.
66 for Yates. But 0-6 is a little troubling. But again, he's not. That could be because the team didn't do it, right? You could have lost games because of the team or somebody else. So no, Kirby Yates is very, very. And he'll be a Toronto Blue Jay if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah.
They signed him to a nice, healthy contract.
Yeah, Derek, very good pick on your part.
So we'll go back to the wheel here.
Derek deserves another one, fans.
Well, both of us are gonna have this guy. Yeah, okay. Aroldis Chapman. Do you want to start us off there, Joe?
Sure. When you think of closers, you kind of think of him. He kind of jumps off the page. I mean, I still can't believe that him and Gleyber Torres were traded for each other, and then the next offseason, the Yankees decide, hey, we're just going to sign him. So credit to the Yankees for getting the guy twice. It just doesn't happen in baseball. Yeah, Chapman's 33 years of age. He's a fireballer. He throws that slider. I don't want to take too many stats from you because I know you have them too, but, you know, he's just unhittable. Like when he gets in there, he doesn't usually blow a lot of games. 99% fastball. Sometimes he's injured. He got in trouble with domestic violence, seems to clean that up. He's just scary out there. Big lefty, just imposing figure. And he's definitely a weapon. You know, he's definitely a guy, if the Yankees would get far in the playoffs, you figure that he's going to be the guy that he's going to lock down the game for you. I have him at 2, Derek. I have him at number 2.
Chapman has long now been one of the best closers in baseball. This will be his 7th year with the Yankees. Before that, he had 1 year with the Cubs, and then Cincinnati is where he really was that fireballer. I mean, he throws 98, 99 probably now, might touch 100, but he doesn't quite touch that anymore. He's you said it, he's one of the best closers for a while now. He has 277 saves, so he's potentially coming up on 300 this year. I just don't see him as that anymore. Like, I know last year he, I think, blew the game blew a save for them in the playoffs against the Rays. I don't see him as that unhittable guy anymore. It's very odd, although he's probably higher if you were to look at all these stats. He's the only one without a top 3 in any of these stats. But like I said, I'm sure all of them are upper tier for everything. He just happens to not be on quite that level. And that's pretty much why I have him at my second honorable mention, because I like other guys more than him, but there aren't many more. He's still very consistently good. You see, he keeps the ball in the park, 0.66 home runs per 9 innings. I don't love the 3.8 walks per 9 innings, so he's been walking people lately. He does have the 40 saves, and he's always going to be injured at least a few weeks of the season, it seems like, and that's not something I love. But he's still one of the toughest pitchers to hit. You said it. So,
Derek, quick story about him. I saw him in Philly when he was in Cincinnati, and he gave up two big home runs that day, and he lost them the game because Freddie Galvis actually walked off and won the game for the Phillies that day. So I'll never forget that.
and he's not someone who really keeps his cool too much either.
No, he gets
I
fired
know
up.
he's been one of those people to throw behind
Yeah,
hitters and
heads.
and
Yeah.
yeah, I don't love that stuff, but he's probably still going to be there for a few more years. I should have his contract here. Looks like signed through 2022. So
Still
one
another
more
year.
year.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. And then we'll see it because that he had got his big contract. So
He'll be 34
um
too. Yeah.
let's go ahead and get our next person.
Will it be on my team, Derek's team, both our teams, or none of our teams?
Or
Oh,
neither. It looks
stop.
like it's gonna be neither.
Oh.
But I'll take him, Joe. Let's go with Edwin Diaz. For those that are saying why the heck is Edwin Diaz on this list? Okay, I don't disagree with that. I put it on because he was one of the most talented closers. Um, you see those numbers. 92 games he's been on, and he has the second highest K per nine. He has movement on his ball, but when he does have movement on his ball, it's great, which is what he had when he was in Seattle. It seems as though for some reason, now that he's in New York, he's got a lot of just pew straight
Yeah.
okay, it's 99, but professional hitters are going to catch up to any fastball if it's just straight as an arrow. You got to continue getting some movement on that ball. It was really 2019. You see his 4.41 ERA. 2019 was when he really blew up, when he first year in the Mets, 5.5 ERA. Last year he brought it back down, 1.75 ERA. Joe, he's got a great slider. He's one of the most talented closers in baseball, but it's whether or not he can bring it all together. Also, let's put in the factor of playing in front of fans in New York is not the nicest to get behind. You get a few bone slaves in a row, you're done. What are your thoughts? You've seen probably Edwin Diaz a few times now, being a Phillies fan. What are your thoughts on Diaz?
When they made that trade, I know the Mets gave up Kalanick, if I'm saying that right.
Yeah,
Kalanick,
yeah.
right? So you knew, and I knew he was
Technically, it was for Cano. Well, no, I would
well,
say probably the main part of the deal is probably Diaz. Yeah, I would agree.
I mean, I just know that, yeah, being a Phillies fan, I've seen him in action. He can be really good, but man, can he be really wild. And I think that's one reason I didn't think
Yes,
about him, because he is so wild sometimes.
he
And
can.
Derek, we're not talking about wild in the strike zone. We're talking about wild outside the strike zone. Like, I've seen him walk a couple batters in a row. So he needs to harness that. And I think the Mets thought he could be a good solution for the back end. I don't think he's going to end up being, if they get a closer, I think he could be a really good setup guy or even like a back end guy, but he doesn't need to be their closer. They just don't have options. Betances and, you know, these other guys, Aaron Loop, like, these guys aren't that good. I mean, but yeah, I'm not a fan of Edwin Diaz. I'm just not.
Yeah, if we go back to you just mentioned off air a few minutes ago about Dan Villani saying about how there may not be a 40 save closer this year. And I don't think he's going to be one because you said he's too up and down. Maybe you throw it when he gets healthy, Seth Lugo out there for a few saves. Maybe you get
Right.
Familia out there to get a few saves. There, And I don't know, besides Hendricks, because you gave him a ton of money, I don't know if there's anyone on this list. Josh Hader, but you also have Devin Williams there. There's not really
Right.
anyone on this list that I say, oh, lock 40 saves this year. So,
Yeah, there's three guys that hit 50 and 40 in 2 seasons, but that's 20 and
right.
30 saves. It's not 40. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a chance, but it's got to all go right for those guys.
So let's then again, who do we have next? Okay, we're gonna go out to Houston here, and Ryan Presley. Uh, anything on Ryan Presley, Joe?
Well, he's not on my list.
Yeah,
I know that he's had a good run though. He's 32 years old.
he's only been the closer, I
So,
think, for maybe a year. Yeah, you can
yeah,
see by those
yeah,
numbers, a lot of holds, but he is the
right.
current closer.
15 saves, 12. That K for 9 for me is a little high. I mean, it's not the highest, but it's high. Um, I didn't really think of him just because I don't watch a lot of American League baseball, but he doesn't jump out at you either, right? He's not. I mean, a good ERA at 2.53 though. And the WHIP is really low. He actually at 2.63 ERA, sorry, and 102 WHIP. It's still really good numbers though. He's just not
Mhm.
that tier where you sit there and like, oh my god, I got to put Ryan Presley on the list, right?
No,
And
no.
he's not that guy.
No, he's pretty solid. I guess you would say Roberto Ozuna was their closer for a few years,
Got himself
but
in trouble.
he's kind of out of baseball now with everything that happened with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's doesn't throw the ball amazingly hard. But you see, he's just that middle reliever who's gonna
Yeah.
get you outs. Uh, decent K per 9 of 12. Um, but nothing. It gets a lot of innings, 75 innings, but nothing special. 95-mile-an-hour fastball, 89-mile-an-hour slider. Nothing great, but yeah, no one that's going to really touch a top 5 list. I don't think, for the time being. Let's go ahead and get our next person here. Yeah, probably another one who we don't know a ton about, but great middle reliever for the White Sox right now is Aaron Bummer. A lot of people might not know about him, but Joe, you look at a lot of these numbers here. He's not the closer, so he doesn't have any saves, but 30 holds, no losses, which means he never really blows up. Doesn't get those strikeouts, 8.65, but keeps the ball in the yard. Another one that just a solid middle relief piece for the White Sox right now.
Yeah, he's 27. He's going to be interesting because they have him, Kopechek. They have Crochet coming. He's young and good. So they have those three guys that could be a formidable bullpen. Bummer, and of course I'm not going to mention the closer because I'm pretty sure he's on both our lists. He's at least on my list. But 1.99 ERA for him. I mean, he's young, Derek. He's 27 years old. He's only older than Devin Williams, and okay, Hader's the same age, but still, like he's a young guy. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I heard a lot about him in the postseason. I think the games are usually on TBS if I'm not mistaken, and the announcers were talking about him. He's key to their staff going forward. But I think he's a guy that's gonna he's a tough lefty. That's the other thing. He's a tough lefty.
Yes.
So he'll be a
Yes.
matchup guy. You got Joey Gallo coming up for Texas, or you got, guys you want to switch around in a lineup. He's a guy that you want to use. And yeah, Aaron Bummer will be used by manager Tony La Russa, I'm sure, often the next couple of years.
Yep, someone who has that 96-mile-an-hour sinker to throw
Goes
out
hard.
there. You see more and more of those guys have this sinker. So yes, good lefty out of that bullpen. So again, another name that probably will never jump up to a top 5, but a very solid piece out there in Chicago is Aaron Bummer. Ah, and there he is.
There he is.
The closer for Oakland, who was sent out now to Chicago, and he is a closer out there. Huge contract for Liam Hendricks, Joe. And I think we can both agree he's probably on the top of our lists.
Well, for me, he's number one. It was close with Chapman, but I just think Hendricks has shown a lot of consistency. 32 years old. Man, he could have helped any team out there. 97 games in 2 years, 39 saves. This is another guy that could, the White Sox win a lot of games. He could push 40. That was in 2 years.
Yeah.
So, he could push 40. 183 walks to 9. That's good. 1.66 ERA. Liam Hendricks is the guy that when you're good, it can make you great. And Derek, I called for him all off season to be a Philly. It didn't happen. But the Chicago White Sox are very, very, very talented. La Russa's going to love waving this guy in. He's Australian born and no nonsense. He's a guy that I want to hit somebody because he was going to do it against the Astros in the playoffs, but he figured, why do it now? Like, this is a big game. So he's a no nonsense type of pitcher. Liam Hendricks, Derek, my number one.
Yeah. Well, he's my number one too. And, but I will say in 2 years, ask me again, because I don't think, and I think it hasn't been since Mariano Rivera, has there been consistent year after year. Here's the best closer. That'll jump all around. Yeah, Hendricks is, you definitely saw his passion in that playoffs. Yeah. He was someone who really jumped out, that you saw, my God, this guy really wants it. I think he threw like 3 innings the one game, which you don't see out of a closer, but he went out there in that third game against the White Sox and threw 3 innings of shutout ball and shut them down. You said it. Yeah, good stat. Australian. I didn't know he was Australian.
Heard him talking. That's the only way I knew it.
Huge contract. Yeah. We said 3 years, 54 million. So he's there for a while. 96 mile an hour fastball, slider, that he's going to throw out there. You said 97 games, 108 innings, 1.83 per walks per night. The stat that I really like, and I'm going to talk about it with a couple other guys that I have, is the left on base percentage. If he inherits runners, 84% of the time they are not getting to home plate, and that's a great number that I like to see. But I don't think there's really much debate that right now, and he got the money. That's why he's one of the best closers and best relief pitchers out there, Liam Hendricks, for the White Sox. Looked like we have 6 to go here. Let's start with Drew Pomerantz, and I will talk about Drew Pomerantz. He is on my list. I have Drew Pomerantz as number 5 on my list. Pomerantz really reinvented himself, Joe. He was a starter in this league: Colorado, Oakland, Boston, San Diego, Milwaukee, San Francisco. He went all over the place. And I believe, I don't have that number right in front of me, but ERAs that I'm looking at: 5.4, 6.23, 3.66, 4.59. Yeah, he was not a great starter. All of a sudden, Milwaukee put him in the bullpen in 2019, and then the Padres continued it last year. 2.39 and a 1.45 ERA, 1.71 total. He hasn't pitched as many games, but blown saves only 1. Average hitter is only 155 against him, and there's that huge number for me, Joe. 90% of runners do not get on or do not get home. That's a great number from Drew Pomerantz. Lefty.
Big lefty.
Yeah, yes,
He's
probably
tall,
6'6", something
at
like that.
least. Yeah.
Tell us your thoughts on Pomerantz.
The only thing I want to say is that I do remember him in San Francisco because it was him and Melanson, and he was
Mhm.
actually in the bullpen then too. So I think San Francisco might have something to do with that too. Just throwing that out there just because I remembered it. Um, you're right though. He's the typical guy that started his career as a starter and he couldn't hack it as a starter, but he goes to the bullpen, maybe less pressure, maybe just a
Yeah,
different
who
kind of
knows?
pressure, and he was able to get big lefties out. He was just that guy. Like, and he frustrates you as you play him because you're like, let's get a hit, let's get a home run. Like,
I'd love to be
no,
able to tell you, oh, well, he went to the bullpen and he changed this
yeah,
in his wide. I don't know that. I don't know.
no,
You see that
you're
at
right though.
15.02 K per nine, but guess what, Joe? His fastball is 94 miles an hour and he has a curveball. That's it. A
He's
fastball and a
deceptive.
curveball.
He is deceptive. He does come off
Yes.
his leg like that's what he is. That's one thing I'll tell you for sure. I know is, and for the fans that never seen him, but yeah, that's kind of who he is, like a J.A. Happ kind of big, tall, lanky guy.
Mm-hmm.
But a veteran, and you know what? Good for him. He might have another contract at 32. You never know, depending on his
Maybe.
contract now. He could be huge for San Diego going forward, Derek.
Yeah, he's there through 2023. So he actually got a pretty decent
Oh, I
contract.
didn't
4
know that.
years,
Okay.
34 million.
He'll stay there.
But yeah, so we'll go ahead and move on. We have 5 guys left. And we'll start with Nick Anderson, another guy who unfortunately went down, and I don't think is going to be a part of the bullpen for Tampa Bay this year. But was a main piece last year in their World Series run. Nick Anderson. So you might be thinking, Nick Anderson, how long has he been around? Well, 2 years. That's it. 20 He is 30 years old, but 2019 is when he really came on for Tampa Bay. He had a 2.11 ERA, and last year he had a 0.55 ERA. Again, would be a great number. Wasn't as good as Jake Diekman or Devin Williams. But you see he has the 505 15.05 Ks per 9 innings. You see the RA is pretty low, 2.77. Doesn't really give up. He does give up 1 home run, so that's something to look out for him. Unfortunately, 22 holds, batting average of 191. Not the closer again, Joe, but he was an amazing piece to help Tampa Bay make it to the World Series last year.
Now, Derek, is he on your list?
Yes. Thank you
Okay.
for reminding me.
Sure.
Nick Anderson is number 3.
Wow.
Nick Anderson, number 3.
Okay. Yeah. Listen, he was like the bridge to guys like Castillo, Diego
Yes.
Castillo, and Fairbanks, and he fit in really well there. And Alvarado, of course, was there too.
Mm-hmm.
I just believe that Anderson's a very good, solid pitcher. It shows in some of these stats with the wins, and then the home runs per 9 are good. The walks per 9 are pretty decent, even not too high. I don't know a lot about him, but when I look at his stats, I do know that whip is also low. So he's just a very solid pitcher. So good job by you, giving him the credit and putting him at number 3.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think he went down for this year, but look for him to come back. And that'll leave us with 4 to go. Couple on our list, couple not, I believe. So let's start with someone who we just saw the other day, actually, Joe, when we did the Phillies and Cardinals broadcast, Giovanni Gallegos, good right-hander out of St. Louis.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
and Gallegos is a pretty tough pitcher to face. If I remember, he's right-handed.
Yes.
He's not on my list. He's not on yours, right?
No,
No,
no, not quite.
no. And again, he's that type of pitcher that isn't going to get the print, right? He's not going to get the pub, but he's a guy that gets outs. He's just that type of guy. He's one of those guys that's going to get outs. You know, he's there's the chart. We got the chart up
Sorry.
now.
Yeah.
That's all right. He's 29 years old. He doesn't have any wow stats. I mean, I should say that actually. He's a 202 walks per nine. That's pretty good. That's actually third
Yeah.
best.
His
You know,
walks and
that's
his whip are very low.
second best. Wow. 0.82 whip. Yeah, that's really low. Actually, that might be the low. It is the
It
lowest
is
by
the
a point.
lowest. Yep.
And then 169 average is really good. Yeah, he's just that guy for St. Louis that comes in and gets the guys out if need be, right? That's who he is. I don't know what else to say about Gallegos, but pretty decent pitcher.
Yeah, he really came on well, it's actually been since 2019 that he really has been pitching well. 2.31 in 2019, 3.6 in 2020 so far, a 2 ERA. I think he probably he only throws around 95, 96, but he's one of the many relief pitchers that the Cardinals have out there, talented. Along with Alex Reyes, Jordan Hicks, who is the fireballer. That's not Gallegos's game, but he's still a very decent. Doesn't That's big. You can't come in there and give up walks. You can't come in there give up hits. He does what he's supposed to do. He goes out there. Maybe you'll see him get few more saves. He doesn't really have a ton of those. But he seems to be the eighth inning guy right now in St. Louis. So we'll probably see those hold numbers come up for Gallegos. So we have 3 to go, Joe. I know one is on our list. I don't know about the others. That would be the one on our list.
Yeah, that's it.
Josh Hader, who is the other name who you could say, is he the best one in Milwaukee? Is it Devin Williams? That's really up in the air. Opposite sides of the coin, one lefty, one righty. But Joe, you see the 50 saves tied for first. You see the innings pitched. They get his innings out of him, that's for sure. The highest K per nine, 1607. He is formidable against giving up the home run. You see that number, 171 is the highest by pretty far. Well, no, you got Edwin Diaz's number down there, I guess. Good whip. I love that left on base percentage. Josh Hader's been one of the best relief pitchers, Joe, for past few years. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's just electric. He is so awesome to watch. Long hair, wears his hat kind of funny, just fun to watch. But these numbers are not anything to be laughing about. He's got a 148 average against. He's got an 088 left on base percentage against, an 083 whip. Like, I mean, how do you even, again, the biggest compliment sometimes in sports and in baseball is when teams want you, and teams want Josh Hader. They want to make a big deal and get this guy because he's just that good. Derek, I have him at number 4 actually, and I think I probably should have him a little lower. But Derek, do you have him at 2 or 4?
Number 2.
There
2, I have him. Yeah. He's been one of the best for a while. I couldn't not put him in there. Actually, 2018, he was number 7 in Cy Young.
That's when he had Derek.
So
impressive.
He's got some good numbers. So
yes, he does.
He will be for foreseeable future, I'm sure, one of the best pitchers out there. Currently a 0 ERA, granted. He's pitched 4 2/3 innings so far this year, but hey, hasn't given up any runs. So that'll leave us, Joe, with 2 names, one of which I don't think either of these is on my list, actually. I think one is on yours, and we'll start with him, with Brad Hand. Do you want to delve into Brad Hand, who is now the closer in Washington?
Derek, we might have missed one because I don't have your number 4. So if that guy's not on your list,
No,
we
that's all
missed.
right. We'll run through it.
Okay. So anyway, Brad Hand was the Cleveland Indians closer. Uh, Even last year, he's been there for a while. Hand was, I think he was in San Diego years ago, but Cleveland for a while. 31 years old, the Washington Nationals closer. Derek just said 8-5 record, 83 games, 50 saves in 2 years. That's a big number. It actually leads all, well, tied with Hader. Sorry, one held, which is not good. 79.1 innings pitched. 2.50 walks per 9. 2.95 ERA. Hand is really talented. It's just going to be, can he stay healthy? I think. Tough lefty, real big guy. Can Washington win enough for him to get save opportunities? I'll give you a prediction, Derek. I think he saves 22 games. That's what I'll say.
Well, and partially because I don't think there's really anyone out there who can fight him for saves in Washington. Right. They brought him in to be the closer. I think it's just slightly past his prime. That's why I don't have him in my top 5 or honorable mentions. But he was very good for a decent amount of time. You said he doesn't quite stay healthy enough. I know 2018. Yeah, he doesn't get the innings in the upper 80s and 90s that you might want, but he'll get you 50, 60 in good innings. He was an all-star a couple years. Not quite anything that I want right now. I would want him more as a middle reliever, but he's been pretty decent as a closer. You see the 50 saves. He's been the closer everywhere he's gone for the past few years. Hasn't really been the middle relief guy anymore, but not quite for me for Brad Hand, but maybe slightly off the list. And that'll bring us to the last pick here. I don't need to spin the wheel because there he is. Probably someone who's been going more downhill, Joe. Kenley Jansen, who is still, however, the closer out there in Los Angeles. He's been for quite a few years now. You look at the save numbers since 2012, 25, 28, 44, 36, 47, 41, 38, 33. Last year, 11, obviously a lower number due to the season. He's still the closer technically, but is he really a top 5 closer anymore or a top 5 relief pitcher anymore?
He didn't make my list, and I just think you're right. He's not probably a top 5 guy or top 7. He can be wild. He can be hurt, but when he's healthy, he's really good. Some of these numbers are impressive. The home runs per 9's impressive. Whip's impressive. Average 210's impressive. There's not much you can say. He's one of the best teams in baseball, so he's going to get opportunities to save games. Especially those 2-1, 3-2, 4-2 games, right? It just didn't move the needle for me. I didn't like him in the top 7.
Yeah, it was really, so now that I'm really looking 2016, 17, 18, that's where he was really his strongest. He's kind of
tailed off,
bumped up his ERA since then. I mean, he's a 3.3 ERA guy, but and what do you see? He's number 3 or tied for second in saves. He's got 8 wins. Again, I think that number is due to him giving up runs, and then the Dodgers go and win the game in the bottom of the 9th. But he was 5th in Cy Young in voting with a 1.32 in 2017. I just don't think he's there anymore. So we'll probably see maybe one of those young guys come up and take that closer's role moving forward. But that'll do it. That is our list for top 5 relief pitchers in Major League Baseball. Joe, let's run through our 2 honorable mentions and our top 5 lists. Go ahead.
Number 7 from the Washington Nationals, closer Brad Hand. Number 6 from the Oakland Athletics, setup man Jake Diekman. Number 5, the closer from the Anaheim Angels, Raisel Iglesias. Number 4, from the Milwaukee Brewers, closer Josh Hader. Number 3, from the Milwaukee Brewers, right-hand setup man Devin Williams. Number 2, from the New York Yankees, left-handed closer Aroldis Chapman. And number 1, from the Chicago White Sox, right-handed closer Liam Australian-born Hendricks.
And I had my first honorable mention was Kirby Yates for Toronto. My second honorable mention was Aroldis Chapman for the New York Yankees. Number 5 was Drew Pomerantz, San Diego. Number 4 was Devin Williams, Milwaukee. Number 3, Nick Anderson, Tampa Bay. Number 2, Josh Hader, Milwaukee. And number 1, Liam Hendricks for the Chicago White Sox. And as we mentioned, that'll do it for our relief pitchers. Top 5. All we have left is outfielders, right? Which, yeah, we're still figuring out how we're going to do that, when we're going to do it, but we hope to get it out to you relatively soon, in due time. But until then, Joe, final thoughts as always.
Yeah, just it's kind of funny because you think about preparing for some of these shows like we do all the time. We talk about it off our broadcasts and the podcast, and I'll have to say it's going to be weird except for preparing for the next show, but not for like almost a week and a half or so, or more than that. It will be a little weird, but I want to wish you and your family well on your vacation, definitely. And also when you come back, we'll be ready to go, because then I'll know that with a week off, I know I'm going to be, like I said, raring to go. So no, it's going to be good. And we'll have some more stuff. We're going to do hopefully more games. I'm excited to broadcast more games. I thought that went really well. Please listen to our broadcast, the St. Louis Cardinals and the Philadelphia Phillies from the other day. It's up there on YouTube and I guess podcast platform, should I say. But no, Derek,
I'll do that.
You're working on it?
But
all
yes.
All right. Well, no rush, whatever. It's on YouTube, so that's all that matters. Just remember, please like our stuff, comment, follow us on Twitter. I'm trying to help Derek out, so he doesn't have to do the whole spiel. Facebook group, which is still growing. I think about 112 people. We just want to keep coming here with our shows. We have we're going to be here for a long time. We both have said that. So get used to us. If you don't like us, you're going to love us. And yeah, just I can't wait for, when you come back from vacation, hear all about it. But yeah, let's continue to go in a good role here, Derek.
Yes, so I don't need to run through all that stuff. Joe took care of it for me, but I will say, yes, we will be taking a week off. I'll be headed on vacation, so Joe will get his time to rest as well. So, and then we'll come back firing in May. But you know the drill for YouTube and everything. Make sure you subscribe when you're out there on YouTube, and we hope we'll be pushing up some other stuff while we're on break. Make sure you jump back and watch our interviews and watch our other top 5 lists of baseball players and top 5 sports movies and whatever else was out there, Super Bowl moments. Those were all fun to make, and it'll be fun to look through them maybe in the top 100 show or 100 show, and we look through all of them. But we hope everyone enjoys all of our shows, and please like and comment and let us know your thoughts. Let us know your top 5 relief pitchers or anyone we might have missed. But until we come to you again, we appreciate everyone, and we thank you as always for taking time out of your day to spend some time with us. Everyone stay safe and take care.